Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight. Got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet. Cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. I just got yelled at for not hitting record, but that's okay.
Ooh,
I didn't get yelled
ooh.
at. That's a strong. That's a
Not yelled
strong.
at.
That's
Yeah, that is
yeah,
a strong. I just said I
yeah.
didn't want to talk about it if we weren't recording because a lot of the stuff we talk about, we'll get. That's what we do on the show. It's just a
It's what
conversation.
happens. It's what happens. Yeah, it's all good though. But yeah, man. It's been another week.
Mhm.
Weather doesn't want to seem to decide what it wants to do. We had
Yeah.
beautiful weather for most of last week, and then last night had a massive storm come through with tornadoes all around us. That's
Oof.
the one thing I love about living in the area we are in. It would take a lot for a tornado to get into this atmosphere. That's, it's just you've got an entire loop where people are driving around, so all of the smog and everything, it's a wall, and
Yeah.
but it builds up energy, and when it gets out, like on the other side of town, like on the east side of town, whew, I feel for those people there. There's quite a few, like 14,000 people without power right now, and it
Oh man.
flooded. It's real bad. And of course, like the rain, the way that it's headed, it always goes up the Ohio River. And so the rivers are really high right now. So yeah, it was fun driving to school today and seeing the water up really high.
Yeah, we just got snow. More snow. Probably
Yuck.
got 4 inches, something like that again. Came in and they canceled all the after school activities. They told my son he didn't have to come to work, and we were ready.
Wow.
And honestly, the counties, the districts around us canceled school, but ours didn't. And um, my son got up this morning. He's like, "Oh man, everybody else got off school today or e-learning or whatever. And I got to go to school." Yep. And it was, and it's kind of ugly out there. And it wasn't expected. And I think it hit after a time where we had spring come in. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they were really, I mean, they're pretty prepared here for snow, but it was a concern, but the roads being bad or whatever. And I told him, I said, I would let you stay home today, but you are behind.
Mm,
You had 30 missing assignments last week. And I said, I don't even understand how that happens, but we got to work on that.
yeah,
And he
no
said,
kidding.
Dad, I've only got like seven. I'm like, yeah, but you still have seven. He's like, but if I stayed home, I could get them all done. I'm like,
Oh.
wow, look at you, your logic. No, no. I told him, staying home on a day like today is not something that, like if he had an assessment or a test or anything like that, he'd have to go.
Right.
Like the elementary school's doing the forward testing or as
Oh,
one
like
of
the
the
state
tests,
testing or
the
whatever.
state testing, yeah,
Yeah.
today. And I'm like, you got to go to school. It's period. Here's make sure you have a good breakfast, eat breakfast again at school. And because the breakfast at school is more like a snack, it's not really that, impressive.
Right.
But it's for elementary school kids. So it's all right.
Here's a bag of
They
Cookie
were
Crisp for you.
right. Yeah. And they also have like, oh, I'm so happy today we have a pancake roll. And I'm like, neat, because you love pancakes. But it's like, yeah, it's a sausage link wrapped up
Wrapped
in
in
a
a
pancake. I'm
pancake.
like,
Oh my
oh
gosh.
yeah, that makes sense. And then the other one's like, it's not a link. It's actually a patty that they put on it and then just kind of roll it up and smash it. And I'm like, wow, okay. I don't know how that works, but yeah,
It's
but
like a
they
step
love it.
it's like a step down from like a McDonald's breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, hey, whatever works, I guess. I will say this. So yesterday I was like getting ready to go into the brewery for work for a little bit, after going to physical therapy, and I heading that way, and all of a sudden my text message goes off, and I look at it. Sure enough, the school's like, we're closing at 12:30. Come pick up your kids. I'm like, wow, I'm glad that I have a very flexible job and basically am a for lack of better terms, a full-time, part-time at-home dad because I
Yeah.
can just break away from what I'm doing and go pick up my kids here in the
Hmm.
next 45 minutes to an hour or whatever when they sense it. And I was just the whole time I was driving, I was just thinking about, oh, all these other parents who are like scrambling right now.
Yeah.
I almost posted in like our little like class Facebook group was like, hey, does anybody need to have their kid picked up? Like, is this like too much kind of deal? Because we ended up getting a new, bigger car. So over the weekend, so I was like, and then I just never got around to it. It looked like quite a few people were already there anyway too. So, but people are pretty good about posting like if they needed that kind of help. But I was just like, man, I'm really thankful that I have this flexibility because you really feel for the parents who are like, this messes up the whole day.
Yeah. I mean, and you imagine too, like single parents, and it just
Oh
like,
yeah.
how do you even do anything but something like this? Because you're at work
Yeah.
and you can't just leave, you know. So unless if you don't have like family or something like that, you know, I will say that if we happen to have any parents out there that aren't at home parents and they want to really figure out this issue, be good friends with your at home
Meet, yeah.
parents.
Find an
Meet and
at
be
home.
friends with the at home parents and be like, hey, dude, can you get my kid too?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee if it happened to me and one of the other parents said, hey, can you pick up so and so? I'd be like, yeah, sure. Just call the school, make sure they know I'm coming. And yeah, I mean, I got a Suburban, man. I'll take them all home. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So that yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. Like that's the key. You've
mhm,
gotta know who these at home parents are because
yeah,
they are the saving grace in a crunch situation for sure. So, and
we're a
honestly, like
resource.
yeah, and if they're and two, it's doubly nice if they're, close with your kids because then it's like, oh
Hmm.
sweet, I get to play with my friends. Like
Right.
they don't know any different. So
Or
makes it
or
that much
even
bigger.
stay at my house.
Yeah.
You know, you're at work and you can't get off work or it'd be difficult for you to get off work. Yeah, okay. Well, they can come over and yeah, they'll just play games or something. I mean,
Yeah. I'm
we're not
here
going to get
already.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just yeah, bring them over. And another kid, well, even with two, you just add another one. That's not that big a deal.
No, it's not.
You
And
know,
they're
it's
gonna
like, yeah,
and more than likely when they're in school age, I mean, they're gonna play together and they're gonna, want to hang out. Like this is like to them, this is like a special day to
yeah,
get to
it's
do something like
vacation.
that. How many times do you hear your kids say, I want to play date with so and so? Like I hear that daily in my house.
Hmm.
And it's like to be able to just have that conjure on its own is much nicer than trying to plan it all
Yeah,
out. So
yeah.
but yeah, we've traded in our lease because we had a Toyota Highlander since 2021, and it's been a great car. But they came out with a Toyota Grand Highlander, and the best part
Hmm.
is that they came out with it in hybrid as well. So here's this big 3-row seated SUV that they call like a midsize, but honestly, it feels like driving a Suburban. But that gets like 36 miles to the gallon.
Does
It's
it? Does it though?
feel like a Suburban.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean, I look back and it's the back is way back there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's not.
To me, it is all right, man. To me,
You
it
know,
is.
and the upgrade too, because I remember like through the history of cars, originally we had a two-door hatchback. I think it
Oh
was a
yeah,
Mazda like MX-6 or something, but it was zippy and it was fun and it would fit one kid and then it would kind of fit two kids and then that was it. I mean, even at two kids, your max density right there. So we went to the minivan
yep,
and I loved my minivan. I wouldn't trade it back now because I like the height because of the snow and all that. I like what the Suburban gives me in this area. I
yep,
think it works better, but I would take a minivan with no problem. I love the doors, I love the space, I love everything about it. But again, going from the Mazda to the van, it was a monster. It was huge. You know, I had trouble parking it at first because I was so used to that little tiny car. And then we went and filled that up, you know, and it was just
yep,
like, no, we're stuffed. We can't even pick up anybody. We're full. If it's our family, it's everybody. And went to the Suburban.
yep.
And it's that change from smaller car to larger car which becomes a smaller car to a larger car. So I can understand why you would think it was like a Suburban. Yeah,
Yeah, it just has that feel. I mean, also too,
it's
like,
not. It's
it's
tiny,
fine. It's not,
tiny. It's
but
tiny.
the nice part about this car though too is that it's wide, like it's boxier.
Yeah.
Um, like you can feel when you're in it, like you're higher up too, so
Hmm.
it's got a little bit of a
Yes.
lift on it. It is nice just to have like all that to be able to think. And then of course, like it's like a freaking spaceship. There's so much technology inside of these new vehicles. Like
Yeah.
I'm still like we got it delivered on Monday. I'm still trying to figure out all of the different little nuances that are in there because you can do everything from like program the seat to, you got all the
Yeah.
all the radio
And
channels and
and
everything else.
a programmed seat is
Mm,
so crazy to me because I got in, I saw the buttons on the door. I'm like, I don't know what that is. So I had looking at the manual, trying to figure everything else out,
yep.
And I'm like, so all I do is I'm the main driver, so it defaults to me. And I told Marnie, I said, you need to go and set up number two. You're the driver
Yep.
two, and then all you do is push that button. She's like, oh my God, what are we doing? I'm like, right? How are we living in this world? You
Right.
know, it's amazing. I can't wait. I don't know if you mentioned that you were going to do a video of the interior. I don't know if you've done that yet or put that up yet, but I want to see that because
I put it up on Facebook, but it's in like with friends. So like you would be able to see it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I didn't publicly put it out because
I
it
don't
sh-
want all the people. I don't care about them. It's
yeah.
just me, man. Who's most important
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
Come
No,
on.
it's up there. So well, because when I was recording it, like it, one of the things that it shows is like this map that's constantly up there, like for
Hmm.
navigation purposes. So
Yeah,
it's like so basically like when I showed that, I'm like, oh, like it just shows like the location of where we're at. Like I really don't want that to be like fully public.
yeah.
And then of course too, like I opened up the tailgate, which you can do with the swipe of your foot underneath the bumper, which is
Crazy.
awesome. And especially when you're going to Costco. Uh,
Right.
right. So,
And does
uh,
that only work for you if you have a key in hand, like or on your person, or how does that? Because like, can anybody walk up and just boop your button
no,
and
no,
kick their foot?
it's definitely key fob
Okay.
in hand type of deal.
All right.
Which also too, like Toyota's got a deal now where you can actually sync it up to your phone. Um,
Nice.
so you actually don't have to have the key, but if you have your phone on you, like it'll transmit a signal the same way.
Cool.
But a random person, of course, like can't come up and swipe and get in the car or whatever, which that would be a real weird security risk. Um, but it's a super nice car, and I'm looking forward to actually taking it to Home Dad Con because uh, Matt, Mantley, I think is his name. I can't
Mattingly.
Mattingly, yes. He's gonna be coming to Home Dad Con, and last year, we were trying to set up where I would pick him up on the way to Milwaukee because he lives in Indianapolis, and that didn't happen. So I had messaged him. I was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "You gonna go?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he was getting everything situated, and he didn't think he was gonna get a leave until later in the week, and then he just told me last night that he's gonna get a leave on Tuesday. I'm like, "All right, sweet. Like that's when I'm driving over there too." So let me know when and I'll pick you up. And then
Yeah.
I brought air mattresses last year,
Hmm.
and this year it'll be nice because I'll have a little bit more room for them.
Right.
So compared to the Prius where we just like shoved them in the back.
Yeah. And you fit a lot of stuff on a Prius, but yeah,
Oh
you
yeah,
don't have a
yeah,
lot of room left over. Yeah. Well,
exactly.
that's cool because then you could park next to a Suburban
I know, and then we can really see what the
and
difference
go,
is.
huh, weird. You got a tiny little car. I really I love the bigger vehicle. I really do. And I never, I wouldn't mind having a work truck. I was always a work truck kind of guy, a work van. I really appreciated having that,
Yeah,
and it was always big. So I'm used to driving a big vehicle. Prius again is delightful and I love it. But getting in that, and like you said, you have a bit, you're just sitting up higher in your
yeah.
car and you can see better. You may not be able to see like directly in front of you, directly behind you as well,
Oh,
things
well,
like that. But you've got the cameras
yeah. I was
everywhere.
gonna say you
So
just hit the view camera, and all of a sudden you've got a 360 view of your
yeah,
entire
it has
car.
from over, like you're from overhead. It has that.
It's got the
Does it have that one?
overhead and it's got the front and
Nice.
the back. Like we were actually
Yeah.
driving through carpool and I was like, "Hey kids, watch this." And I hit the view button and it showed me like the camera in front showed me how far away I was from that bumper, and then the other one from behind, and it would show you like what was underneath the car. Like it's pretty wild, like what all it
Yeah.
it shows. So it
And it's
was
beautiful too. It's a really nice color. I mean, I know it's black, but it's got like a
it's
depth to it.
it's got a sparkle in it actually. It's almost like
Does it really?
yeah. So it's called Midnight Black, and
Mhm.
it's got like a starry, like glittery kind of thing inside of it. So like it shines in the right angles or whatever. And we didn't know that because we hadn't seen one of those actually in person. The one we drove was like a gray. But yeah, it's got this really cool fleck
And it
metal in it.
and the accents too, like that, like as I'm looking at a picture of it, obviously, but the like the chrome accents and everything, and then the black is just so deep. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what Vanta Black is?
No.
It's the blackest paint in existence,
Oh
and
wow.
like you should look it up. Everybody look that up, Vanta Black. And I mean, you can't see things. It
Yeah.
just disappears. But that's what it reminds me of. It's kind of like just the chrome exists, you know,
Yep.
and the rest of it's just the void. I mean, it's not in a bad way. You know, I mean like the void, like,
Well,
it's going to eat you, but it's a really pretty vehicle is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, thanks, man.
Good
It's
job, man. Good job.
we did a lot of research to get
Yeah.
it. So, well, and to
And the
the ins
moonroof or the sunroof,
the moonroof, the panoramic
panoramic.
moonroof is awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. The kids were really excited about that, and it's kind of nice on a gray day to be able to basically open up the entire top of your car, and have that light coming in, so it doesn't feel
Yeah.
so drab in the car. Because the windows are very tinted too, so it does stay pretty dark in there. It's also got so when we test drove the one that we were looking at just to get an idea, it had like a wood grain like some like wood grain paneling inside of it that just kind of
Mhm.
gave it a thing. And I asked the sales guy, I'm like, is this in all of them, like this wood grain kind of thing? Because I was like, that's kind of a neat little feature. And he was like, I have no idea. And I was like, okay. And the interior on some of the pictures I couldn't really tell. And so when this one rolled up, it's got the gray wood grain. So it's like this gray blue wood grain in,
Nice.
in some different spots. So that's really kind of a sharp bit to it as well. Um, I will say this though, and I just want to put this out there as sort of like, I guess, insight into how we got this car. We never stepped foot inside of the dealership that we bought this car from. So
Okay. We,
it
why not?
because we wanted to have more control over the like the conversation and more time to think about what we were doing. And a lot of times when you go into a dealership, you are more in this like emotional, like making a big choice type situation
True. Yeah.
that there's all these pressures coming from everywhere of like, oh, I'm here, like, I've gone this far. I feel really bad if I were to like walk out after all this stuff or whatever. And it's like we just wanted to be in a place where we didn't have to do it all in one day because it takes forever sometimes when you sit in a
It
dealership
does. Yeah.
and it's insane. And so we went on Toyota and we just put like we're looking in like a 200-mile radius for a car,
Hmm.
put down what we wanted. And there were a few different dealerships that got the information. And so we talked with each one of them, gave them the rundown of everything. And it was funny because like each place was like, hey, like this is really one of the most sought after vehicles currently in 2024. And they can't make them fast enough. And so it could be anywhere from 3 months to 9 months, maybe before we even like get one to you.
Oof.
Are you okay with that? And I'm like, sure, we'll keep looking. You keep looking. We'll see what happens. And we just kept checking around. And this dealership about 2.5 hours from us was like, hey, we have 11 of them coming in. Um, Most of them are spoken for, but if anything happens, we'll let you know. And sure enough, like 2 days later, they called us back and was like, hey, like financing fell through for one of our customers. So we actually have a vehicle to offer you, and here's the specs on it. And it was everything that we had asked for, minus a hitch. That was it. Which I'm
Oh,
like,
wow. Yeah. That's
that's
nothing.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's something, but that's not a big deal at all.
it's an accessory that can be put on at any Toyota dealership or anywhere else, you
Mhm.
know, really easily. So we ended up starting to work out all the paperwork and the financing and everything. And the whole conversation was done through email and some text messages. And so like, you know, we would email, wait, get some answers, and we just kept doing that back and forth. And even too to like the negotiation and the price and you know interest rates and all that kind of stuff. All that was done on through email, which was great because Corey and I could talk about it, decide what we
Yeah.
wanted to do. We actually even consulted with some different people who are former car industry people from TikTok. Actually, it's amazing. Like they're actually like all these people on TikTok who are trying to help people understand how to get a good deal on a car and not feel like they've been
Sweet.
taken advantage of. And
Yeah.
so we used all of those resources and actually had a consultation with one person individually about, hey, this is what we're looking at. This is what they offered us. And they were like, this is actually a really good deal. If he was like, if you were my client, I would tell you to agree to it and
Go
take it
for it.
because
Right.
it's worth it. And so we ended up doing all of that, and that's what ended up getting us the vehicle. And we never had to have any across the desk uh like awkwardness or
Mhm.
conversation or just even like social anxiety with it because like I said, it was all done through typing. And then the fact that we were close enough, they were like, well, we'll deliver it to you. And I was like, what's that going to cost me? You know?
Right.
And they're like, actually, we have a radius that we work with, and you're with inside that radius, so it's free.
Oh,
And I'm like,
nice.
score. And then I found out that I know the job that I want to get when I retire because this elderly couple drove the car down to us. They're this retired couple, and that's what they do. Toyota, you know, gives them addresses, gives them a car, says, "Here, take this to these folks." Or if they don't have a trade in, they'll drive two cars down so that they can, you know, drive back. And then they find a mom and pop diner to eat at, like
Nice.
for lunch or
And like
dinner.
wherever they go. Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
and it's like,
Yeah.
score. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And so like they showed up. We were there 15 minutes, signed all the papers. Like they're very detailed on everything, signed everything up, handed it back to him, got the keys, and they drove off in our old car, and there sat our new car, and it was it. That's all it took. And I've had people asking me like, "How did you pull this off?" And it was like, we just were tired of going into the dealerships and dealing
Mhm.
with people in person, and this is a way to do
Well,
it now.
and you know, I haven't been to dealerships very often. I have definitely I think the Suburban's the first newish car, and it was a trade in, and it was used. You had a like 90,000 miles, whatever, and that was still an ordeal. It's the best way. I can't think
Yeah.
of the word. It was
Oh
just I
yeah.
was like, oh my god, yeah, all right, let's go. Let's. And like you said, it was half a day.
Yeah. It's
I'm like, I
crazy.
just, what am I doing here? I mean, I want to get this thing. Can I just get it and go? No, actually, we got to do a million things first. And even going to the dealership, because I had to take the Suburban in to get a software update and everything, a couple of recalls and software recalls. So they basically just went in and redid specs on it, whatever, and get a new battery, whatever. And it was awful. I mean, the people were great. They were amazing. They were helpful. They were fun. You know, they offered me popcorn, of course, and free popcorn, free coffee. And I'm like looking at it and I'm thinking, this whole experience here just makes me stressed.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm not buying a car. I don't want to buy a car. I love my Suburban. I couldn't ask for a better vehicle. And I mean, you could say, hey, one of the brand new, like the Corvettes that look like a Ferrari. I don't know if you've seen those.
Yes.
They always have at least two over there. One's in the showroom, one's outside, and then and they're amazing. And even if they're like, hey, that's only $10,000 or something, or something completely cheap, I would look at it and go, no, I can't. No, I don't want it. I don't want to buy another car. This is just the whole experience is just bleh.
Yeah.
So the way you did it is awesome, and
Yeah.
especially that you got the car you wanted almost 100%, close enough to be 100%, trailer hitch, no big deal, and got, I'm thinking, a pretty good deal.
We
And
got a
we're able to
decent deal. We
find the car when no one else has it. I mean, you literally
Yeah.
can't get this vehicle because it's so popular.
Oh
So
yeah. That was the
nice
thing.
work, man. Good work.
Yeah, there's a guy, he's a police officer actually that comes into the brewery, and he had told me like a couple of weeks ago. He's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, we just picked up our new car," and I was like, "Oh, what did you get?" And they got the same thing, and
Sweet.
he's like, we were on a list for 8 months,
Ooh.
and so they put in for it before it was even actually like made, but still even had to wait, into the 3 months in, and I was like, yeah, I was like, that's cool. I was like, we're also looking for one. He's like, just be ready, and I'm like, all right. And then this past weekend, I came in and I was like, so we're getting ours on Monday, and he was like, how in the hell did you pull that off? I'm like, right place, right time, my man. Right
I
place,
thought
right
we were
time.
friends. We're not friends
Yeah.
anymore.
He's like, good for you. He's like, that's awesome. He's like, I cannot believe that you got one that quickly. And I was like,
Yeah,
we just shopped around, man. I was like,
good
things,
stuff.
things happen when you put it out there. So, but yeah,
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
speaking of losing friends, right? Because we're coming into close to we'll be, ending the podcast soon. So I want to get this in. I heard you did an April Fool's joke.
Oh my gosh. It was a good
And
one.
yeah, evidently. So please, I didn't see it. They said it was on Discord, and I don't know if I wasn't looking in the right place, but
He's in the
um,
beer cave,
oh, that's
um,
why. Yeah, I wouldn't see
portion of
that.
it.
So
But yeah, so we hadn't really thought about doing anything. And of course, our marketing director is sort of switching up things with her position. And so
Mhm.
uh, I was just, it was that Monday, and between waiting on the car to come in and just, not a lot really going on because the kids were off for another day for spring break. Their last one. And I I was driving around and all of a sudden I was just like, I got the perfect idea. So what I did was is I went on the brewery's Canva account, and I was like, "Oh, we have an employee spotlight graphic and we've used it a few times." And so I took that. I had recently taken a picture of me at St. Patrick's Day, like right in front of our logo and everything. And so I took that picture and I put it in the spotlight, and then I put my name in, and then usually you're supposed to put your title. And so I put new owner underneath the title, partially because I get asked regularly because I'm there during the daytime if
Yeah.
I'm an owner, and I always find it hilarious because I say, no, the owner you're looking for is bald, and so I he so yeah, one of our owners, he's a little bit older than me. He's bald. He has no beard at all, and I was just like, this is an industry standard faux pas. Like, you're supposed to have a beard, jokingly. And so I just wrote up this thing that said, hey, everybody, just wanted to let you know that ownership has been handed over to me by the other owner, whose name is Paul. I was like, because he could not grow an awesome beard like me and Kyle and Brian and those guys are the other owners. And I was like, so he has graciously handed over ownership and has accepted defeat in the arena of growing a beard. and I and I just like, I was like, I look forward to what the future holds. Like, I built it all up. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
one half of it,
Like
if you
like
started, yeah, one half of it, if you started reading it, you're like, this is not right. And then at the end, you're like questioning whether or not it's true. And I had people who, I mean, they picked it up immediately, but the comments that I was getting in the work Slack channel from different employees was
yeah.
hysterical. And then Paul messaged yesterday and was just like, no, no, you do have a great beard, and there is no way that I could pull off wearing a kilt the way you do.
Nice. Nice. Well, good job.
Yeah, it was fun. It's probably the best one that I've really ever pulled off before, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I thought we should mention it because um, it definitely means you're losing friends. There are definitely people out there that are too invested in you, and they're like, "Oh, I love what you're doing. This is amazing. I'm so glad." Oh, now they're never going to talk to you again. I can just feel it.
Well,
A true April Fool's joke.
when
True,
I
true,
put
true.
it when I put it in Discord, it was funny too because I think it was Dale. Let me look here real quick. I can pull this up. This is pretty funny. Uh, one of them somebody had posted like, oh, like congratulations or something like that. I don't know. It's not in here. I thought I had seen one, but someone had put like a congratulations type of deal,
Mhm.
and it was really funny because I was like, no, no, this is an April Fool's Day joke. So,
Check
yeah,
the date. Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. You can't believe anything on April Fool's Day,
It's
honestly.
it's really tough. It really is, especially if you don't really do April Fools, because I don't do them anymore because I don't have any real friends up here that I developed a relationship to the point where I'd want to prank them.
Yeah.
And so and all the I've done my best work. I've already done my best work. I can move on from it. And I don't need to fool the kids because I mean, that's like I can beat them at checkers, you know. I mean, so what? It's not that big a deal, you know.
Yeah.
So it's something that really just we don't really do anymore, which is, just a thing, I don't hate it or whatever. But looking at it, it's just always so funny because the things that you will see, especially they will change the name of your Facebook groups or
Oh
your
yeah.
Discord server or all those kind of things. And people just say that I used to call my mom after my excuse me, after my first marriage. I was dating a lot of very just a lot, right? And every year I would call my mom. And 3 years running, I would call and say, "Mom, um, so and so is pregnant." And she would flip out. She would lose her mind. She would be like,
That
"Oh
is
no, Danny! Oh my God! It just
that's
why
one
would you?"
of the
Like,
worst April
come
Fool's
on,
Day
come on,
jokes.
mom. You know me better than that. Come on.
I will
But
say you
the
can't.
first time, yes, but I
Mhm.
got her 3 years in a row.
Oh my goodness.
That's a her. That's not a me, right?
Yeah, 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 definitely. Well, you can't w- be viewing all the stuff on social media and anything that comes from a business on that day. Like everybody makes an announcement. You should know by now. Like it just should be like a day of like what can they come up with and not a day of like, oh my gosh, is that for real? Like it because there are just so many wild and crazy things that get put out there. Like I saw where Dude Dad actually said that he created an energy drink and it's basically made from like I don't know what was it like the blood of toddlers or something like that. So they give you energy. It's a really funny one. Like, but they had like created a can and Brewdog Brewing actually changed their name to Brewcat, and they had like spent the time to actually create a logo for it, and it was really awesome. But just stuff like all these different little pieces. Um, for me, it's more of a like, all right, like what am I going to come into contact with for that day? Because those who can be creative with it can really pull off something that people are like, oh, like for instance, Mad Tree Brewing here in town. Um, they said that with their old location that they were going to turn it into Mad Weed and basically make it turn it into a dispensary. And people still aren't sure if that's for real or not because this, Ohio now is actually you can actually buy, weed and everything. And so people are like, "Oh, is that for real?" And I'm like, "Dude, it was launched on April Fool's Day. Like,
It's
the
not likely to be real.
the possibility of that being real is, it's like, but yeah, it's always fun. We've done some in the past too. Um, I know that the organization at one point had put stuff out, especially when Pat Jacobs was in charge of social media. There was always some fun ones that came out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. NAD,
Nad. Well,
NADCon. We were gonna, instead of the National At Home Dad Network, we were gonna be the NADS. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, that one's come back too because we've had people since they go, like, "What's going on with this? This is, this, I don't think this is appropriate. This is, and I'm like,
oh,
Yeah, check the date.
yeah,
Check
check the date.
the date. Yeah, it's April 1st. That was not a real thing. That was a joke. We weren't, but yeah, it's something too that I kind of want to avoid. If somebody else on the board or somebody else in the organization like wanted to get with the board and do something like that, do an April Fool's joke,
Yeah.
fine. I don't want to be a part of it. I feel like this is just where I'm at right now, but we're moving into a place where we're professionals. Finally, finally moving into a place where we're professionals and we're serious, we're a resource, we're yada yada yada. And I just feel like whatever we do for April Fools, it's going to be the worst. it's going to be some, well, like Nads. We're going to be the Nads. It's going to be something like, oh God, really? We're going to be the, okay, sure. And I remember seeing that one because it was NADCon, and I was dying. I still call it that, just every once in a while because I'm like, yeah, because we're the Nads and we're going to NADCon. This is hilarious. And it was great, but I just don't think we could. I don't think we could do that every year. I don't think
No.
we could pull that off. But I will
Well,
be looking forward to what you do next year because now that you've set the bar pretty high,
yeah,
it's
who
gonna get
knows?
better.
Who knows? Maybe I'll
Got a
become
year to think about it.
the other one that I was going to do, and this would be more of an inside joke for our brewery, was like I could basically said that I was going to buy out the softball diamond behind us because the guy back there doesn't let anybody park in his parking lot except for people that go to the games. So it's always kind of crazy. But yeah, how to figure out what's going to be the next one. So the other thing with just like you said, Home Dad Con is I saw where there were quite a few people uh, buying their tickets, getting their flights situated, figuring out kind of when they're coming in and that sort of thing. And so that was really exciting to see because I saw where Marcel Dom just got his stuff put together and when he's going to be coming in. So that's really exciting. And then a bunch of other guys were talking, like I said, I was setting up things for the road trip out that way. But that hotel has got to be filling up pretty fast, I would think. So I don't know how much space is left in there, but I would not be sleeping on that.
Yeah.
So
Everything's going fast.
everything's going fast. Yeah. Hopefully the gas prices will go down so that we'll feel better when we go fast to get there.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't really have much else to discuss.
Yeah.
So we'll just, I guess, call it an episode, and we'll be back next week. And hopefully, we'll start getting some guests on to talk about people who are looking to run for the board and get some speakers in and start having those
Mhm.
conversations and really start just pumping up the countdown to Home DadCon.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Definitely.
Can't wait.
All right. So till next week. Talk to you later. Have a good one.
All right, man. Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.